for my laptop.
Appreciate it. As Terry stated, my name is Marcus Yancey. I'm a consultant for Chicago Cred. Got a lot of people on the call, which I'm excited to see. So I really appreciate everybody taking the time out for their busy schedules today to join us to have this conversation about reimagining what public safety looks like in our communities. Normally, I would go around and do introductions, but we got quite a few people on the call. Some familiar faces and names I see as well too. So I expect this to definitely be a productive conversation. One of the things in the city of Chicago that we've been kind of talking about as of lately as a community is reimagining what public safety looks like in our communities. There was recently a report that was just issued by the city of Chicago, the mayor's office, talking about a 5-point plan. I believe that's actually 6-point plan to really focus on public safety and, determine what it actually looks like. So I want to be clear about a few things to get started. Just to reiterate, want to make sure that everybody's being respectful of each other on the call and that everybody's phone. There's a raise hand button. So if you have any questions or you want to chime in on something, feel free to raise your hand down there at the bottom. Also, probably everybody won't get a chance to talk on every topic. So I just ask that you use the chat if you want to comment, because a lot of these questions, a lot of the answers that we have today, we will be kind of reiterating that to some of the people that we feel need to be notified about what this looks like, because a lot of times we get things imposed on us in our communities, people telling us what we need. This is the prime opportunity through this conversation to talk about actually what the community needs and hear from the participants on the call. So I do want to say that this particular call is confidential. It is being recorded, and we're just taping so that we can actually describe what we hear. We're not giving really third-hand information. We're telling it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So we won't mention any names. We have these conversations, but I ask that you, don't mind to speak freely so that we can have this dialogue and get, facts about how we re-envision public safety moving forward. So we have about an hour and a half allotted. I don't expect it would take that much time. So I'm thinking it's going to be about roughly an hour. So I ask that everybody fully participate. And if you can stick around for the full hour, please do so. Other than that, I want to go ahead and get this conversation started. We all know that, crime within our community has been skyrocketing as of lately. Whether it's talking about, gun violence in the community. There's also domestic violence issues. There's a whole bunch of issues that are going around, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to policing, right? What does that look like, policing within our communities? What are some of the resources that we can use to better enhance our communities? Is that having more conversations surrounding public health services, mental health services? What type of resources should we have in the community in order to curb some of these things that are happening, as well as talking about, budgeting, right? We got to have funds in order to be able to support some of these resources and programming that's taking place. There's been a lot of conversation around defunding the police. That looks different to everybody from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, right? Some people think it's just straight doing away with the police department, which may be hard to do. But then there's also the opportunity to really go ahead and see if we can reallocate some of those resources that the CPD normally gets to be able to effectively impact our communities and the organizations that we reside in. So just a little quick backdrop. Today, on a per capita basis, Chicago has twice the number of police officers in Los Angeles, yet we have 3 times as much gun violence. Where are the resources really going and where are they being allocated? Second, crime is only about 5% of the. So we're talking about situations where, they're spending time what to do with homeless people that have mental health issues, minor drug use, and then also sometimes there's simple stuff like noise complaints or people hanging out after curfew in the park that they spend their time focusing on. And so third, Chicago spends roughly about $1.8 billion basis, if not more, on just policing by itself. So when you think about things like prosecution, looking at public defenders and prosecutors in our court systems, incarceration, whether that's at the Cook County or it's at the state prisons, and then also looking at healthcare for victims as well as the offenders and mental health services. And then put on top of that, You have people that have monitoring in place, right? So you got people that are on parole for many, many years, people that are on probation and all of these sorts of things. So I can easily say that, you know, I can foresee the budget, you know, being over $2 billion as far as what we spend on crime. So it costs a lot of money to combat that. How do we move forward and use those funds in a really responsible and effective way? And so in order to do that, I want to be able to ask a few questions of the community that we have here participating to really get an understanding of, you know, what does policing look like in our community currently? So we're thinking about police, talking about gun violence, also talking about what public safety and social services that we can probably leverage in order to be able to have, you know, prosperous communities and make our communities healthy again. So I would like to throw a question out there, and feel free to chime in, unmute yourself, or raise your hand, which would probably be a little bit better since we have roughly over 60 participants on this call. And I just want to know, what are you hearing from your community, whether you're directly or indirectly impacted, about what are your feelings about the Chicago Police Department? You know, what is the proper role? What should they really be doing? You know, what should they be really doing in our communities? And what do they do well, and what is it that they don't do well? You know, I hear a lot of times that, you know, the police are called for miscellaneous things that they shouldn't be responding to, such as mental health. Should they be doing that anyway? So what are some of your thoughts on the police? Is there a community trust, relationships? I would just like to hear from a couple folks real quick, just, you know, on that particular topic, if you don't mind. So I'm sure I got one person on the call that could talk to me about the police, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name Terrence. I can answer your question on, you said what does policing look like in our community, right?
Right. How do you feel about the police? Correct.
Yeah, what it be looking like currently in the community, it be looking like harassment. That's what it be looking like. Harassment.
So, I mean, that automatically
Yeah.
constitutes a lack of trust, right? Them harassing individuals for no reason is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, they'll see you got regular place or whatever your place will be regular, they'll just pull you over for no reason. Or you walking down the street looking a certain way, they'll just stop you for no reason.
Okay. I can agree with that. Anybody else want to chime in?
So this past weekend, members of our staff, along with other community advocacy, hosted a peace event over the weekend. And during the daytime, when certain individuals are outside, there appeared to be a support from the Chicago Police Department. But as the day winded down a little bit and the lights started to dim, the police became total jerks. The way they approached individuals, you gotta leave, your time is up.
Yes.
It's like, but this is a peaceful assembly. That didn't matter. It was like it was a facade during the daytime, depending on who was watching. But shortly thereafter, they began to harass the community and the individuals that were present. It was just unnecessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Arlena. And then just a quick comment. I got somebody over here, you know, saying that, you know, the input on the police is that, you know, they approach in a forceful manner. You know, they don't have any empathy when they come to the community. Is that kind of a common thing, that they just come in and like my man said, just harassing people? Is there anybody that, you know, disagrees with that and feel like that the police sometimes they do come with good intentions?
Can I hop on to say something?
Yes, sir.
My name's Juwan. I live in Chicago, 64th Normal, born in that area and then raised in that community. It's like, for me, the most part I see, you do have that good percentage of them that be on that trying to hassle you just for no reason. You got a good percent that do that. All police officers are not bad people just because they wear a uniform that represent that force. They ain't no bad people. But you do have like your fair percentage that actually don't need to be police officers.
I appreciate it, Juwan.
I got basically a viewpoint because I view it like this. Yeah, policing is a hard job. You sign up to this job to uphold the Constitution and protect people, not property. You know, so it seems like they more try to keep us in our communities and try to dictate on how we should be. And when you say there's some good police officers, yes, there's a lot of good police officers. But I can have 1,000 police officers, but if you let the 10 police officers act, then they all bad. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't calling off the ones who's making it bad for us, then you all making it bad for us. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they come up with like ghettos and stuff to force us to keep us in our community. And I see a lot of presence really downtown Chicago. That's why, like, when we down there, you see how they look at us, how they be profiling us, want to search for no reason, hoping somebody do got a gun, they catch get arrested and stuff like that. That's why they do come up with ghettos and stuff like that. Like, they don't want us downtown. Like, it's not a fair.
Putting the snack on plates and stuff.
Right. So with that being said, what do you all think is the proper role of the police? Like, when should they be called upon to come and engage the community? Or should they just have just a general presence in the community all the time to deter some of the violence that's occurring in the community? What are your thoughts on that?
I got something to say.
Go right ahead.
I think they should just come.
I think you put yourself on mute, Jamari.
Only time they need to come is when somebody's shooting, somebody getting robbed or something like that. Not just to ride the streets and harass somebody and jump out.
I want to say something too.
Yeah, go right ahead.
The cat, okay?
Hey, I know we have some people that just joined us on the call. If you don't mind just making sure that your phone is on mute so that we don't interrupt the people that are speaking.
Hi, this is Dr. Vessel. I was going to say that I think unless there is equity across the board and a realignment of the purpose for resident and community cohesion, that we're going to continue to have these massive problems. The loss of respect for law enforcement has occurred because of a lot of the negativity in the way our communities are approached. But one of the things that we found is when we engaged with the police, had them to come out and meet the residents to come and meet them in a non-threatening or aggressive way where they develop relationships, that it is so much easier to generate the kind of support and purpose for which the police is aligned, which is to serve and to protect us, not to hurt and to kill us. And so we found that in our 8-block sector, that because those residents know the police and the police know them, that the residents can call them. They don't come to that sector cursing with their guns out, disrespecting the residents. They come when the residents call them. But the residents only call them when, I think one of the other young men said earlier, things have gotten out of hand. So that community policing happens within that 8-block sector because the residents have decided that they're going to talk to each other and protect one another. And only when someone outside the community comes in that disrespects, tries to rob, steal, or things like that, and will not abide by the wishes of the residents, do they call in their 4th tier, which happens to be the police department. The police department that we actually work with is the 10th district. So we've had really good success there and been able to talk with those leaders and be on the same page with them. But it is definitely going to take communication, you guys. There has to be, the fears have to be abated on both sides. The police afraid of us, we're afraid of the police. So what does fear breed? You know what I'm saying? If you're afraid all the time, it's going to produce some really other critically negative behaviors. So fear brings torment. So our community feels tormented by the very people that we are paying to protect us. So there has to be a change inside of the system in terms of what police have been told that they're supposed to go in a community and do. And there's some inside information that says they are not trained well to respect and protect us. So that's my thought.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Doctor. You raise a good point. I hear a lot of people over the course of the last month or so when we've had these calls talk about the community having a sense of responsibility to be able to work things amongst themselves. Every community looks a little bit different. I'd like to hear about, maybe some opportunities where the community can really step up and start to maybe police themselves, so to speak, instead of always bringing in the police in order to not to say that they escalate, which it does happen, but there are situations where the police in there, the situation gets escalated. What does that look like for the communities? Who needs to be at the forefront of having these conversations? Like, I feel that sometimes when the younger brothers, like he said, just because I look a little bit different, and I dress a little bit different, doesn't mean that, I'm a negative person. I'm doing something wrong automatically. So who do we have come to the forefront to be able to have those conversations with the police officers, then start to respect some of our youth, which in turn, they will start to respect them?
Marcus,
Yes, Mr. Nash.
I can go after the brothers. I'll go after the brothers. A couple of the brothers want to say something. Hello?
Hello?
It would be, to fix a problem like that, it would be ideal to have an advocate to like speak up for us. But at the same time, I feel like if we had more Black officers that came from the same demographic as us, then it wouldn't be as difficult to police us because they'll understand.
Yeah, great point, Andre. Right. Appreciate you sharing.
And I want to jump in right there with that point that if we had officers like Detective Williams over in Pullman, she lives in the community. She's lived there for years. She has a daycare business in the community. She has a relationship. She communicates with the community, and she steps to brothers. She steps to neighbors in a totally different way than an officer that looks more like an occupying force that's coming from outside the community, has never interacted with individuals in the community other than in a disrespectful manner. You talked about what does the community need to look like. I can remember a long time ago, being the age that I am, that before you ever got home, there were neighbors that looked out for you. There were neighbors that kind of corrected you if you were getting out of line. You respected neighbors. So we need to get back to that respect of each other and loving each other, that we could say in a kind way, hey, let's come together, let's correct this problem, let's work together. And if it's out of hand, then a police officer that's in the community, walking the community versus just driving through or just coming through an emergency situation, then they'll be able to help in a situation versus hurt the situation.
Absolutely. Appreciate you sharing.
I wanted to say something. Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm thinking more of like, the mindset, first the approach of how policing started in the first place. Okay, but it's like we're in a day and age where we need it. We have to live with it. And the mindset of all officers are not bad, right? I most definitely had some officers to save my life. But I would like to say that we have more officers that's, just mentally programmed to react a certain type of way, and it's happening on a consistent basis, so we're getting the same results over and over. And as far as what it should look like more brothers from our community, that's more like a security force as a panel, so that we can police our own communities, because of course we know one another. Some of them funds should be used to hire brothers within the community to do our own security. This just my my input on it, and then it should result to the authorities coming in. And also we got to think about the jury, right? When they grand indicting people, like no one's there on our behalf to represent us. No one's there on our behalf to go against what the police is saying. And that's why they can do all the things they want to do. That's why they can shoot somebody down in the street. Nobody's there to question the prosecution. And you know, that's just what we up against. So we need some things in our favor, some panels set up that'll work in our favor to create some balance. Not just in within the streets, but hell, we need it in the courts too. Or else they're gonna continue to do the things that they do relentlessly.
Yeah, that's a great point, Antoine. So not only does policing happen in the street, but it's just also in the court system too. They
also
both
in the court system. Exactly.
Right. So you brought, well, I think you and somebody else brought up a great point too, right? About them hiring people from within the community. We all know here in Chicago, I mean, we're well known that, you know, the snitching rule applies, right? Everybody talks about no snitching, no talking to the police. With that attitude and that mindset that's been around, I'd say, you know, at least 15 to 20 years, that's been the code. How do we convert those people in the neighborhood to be able to want to be the police?
It's not so much as wanting to be a police officer, right? But I think the mindset of most people that grow up that want to be an officer, right, it's more of want to do good, right? You want to serve and you want to protect. You want to be that guy, you know, to keep everyone safe in the neighborhood. Not so much as snitching and all that. If somebody raping somebody, he needs to be, need to be put away, right? I mean, but if I'm security in the neighborhood, I know everybody, hey, look, shorty, don't do that, man. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's a domestic disturbance, you know, hey, bro, you need to leave because, you know, I'm going to have to do my job. I'm going to have to call these people, you know, this could lead to, you know what I'm saying, just out of respect. You know what I'm saying, brother, go and do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when it comes to things like that, that's initiative. That's integrity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting you in jail. I'm here to bring balance and tell you, you know, just leave for a while, get some fresh air. You know what I'm saying? But if you force my hand, then, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to, you know, put my hands on you? No, I ain't here for that. Make a citizen's arrest.
That's a great point, family. Yeah, that's a great point, family.
Give you a way out. Can I jump in?
Yeah, go right ahead, Darren.
No, I was saying that's a great point, man. That, you know, that you got the guys that's in there policing each other, man, and instead of throwing them handcuffs on you or letting it escalate to something different, you know, you got the guys that's telling them, hey, man, stop and think and go and remove yourself, you know what I'm saying, but in a respectful way, and it's because they know each other, you know what I mean? And I know, go ahead, family.
Oh, excuse me, brother. A lot of the time, we get caught up in the word of policing when actually we just holding each other accountable.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Yeah, we got to. Sometimes we got to change them definitions, right? So they don't, so that they don't become trigger words for us. I got a couple of my guys that's working on the force, man, but they work in the same community and they've been doing it for years. And the guys know them and they see them. It ain't no, oh shit, there go the popo. It's, hey, what's up, Moo? What's up, Joe? What up, Mike? It's that type of thing. And it's an all love thing, you know what I mean? But they from the hood. They grew up in the hood and you know, and they let you know, hey man, come on, family, I need you to do this and do this and do that. But they talking to you guys, to us, in a very respectful way, man. And man, trust me, when they give respect, normally you get respect back. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And one thing they got to do is they got to change their hiring practices. When they did have a call for black people to sign up for police officers, out of thousands that signed up, they barely got hundreds talking about they didn't qualify for this or this wasn't what they're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But what is the criteria?
Yeah, they pulled them rules out, them other rules.
Can I speak?
You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand, we know, you know what I'm saying, as soon as we came out of slavery, 1865, police was created, and most of the practices ain't changed since then.
Yeah, Juwan, you wanted to say something real quick?
Yeah. I was going to say, like for back in the days, like it was probably like that. It was like once upon a time where it was the gang control, where the gang had that area where if you did something, you had to go see one of them. That's what my pops tell me. He one of the old people from Motown. That's what he tell me. Like like, back in the days, you couldn't just go shoot at nobody on no block. You go do that, you got to go explain to somebody why you did that. See, all that trust got broke back way in them older days. It's not nobody else here to say, oh, well, this hood under control. It's all this block thing. All these people don't go by no code, none of that. Like, all they know, not to talk to the police. And that's how I was raised. Don't say nothing to them, don't incriminate yourself, ask for a lawyer. But for all them street guys, all that, go ahead, I got somebody talking in my background, my bad.
No doubt. Hey, family, I think that's a great point. And I'm from that hood too, that time, right? That's a great point. And I think it's actually, it may be by design, man. Like, they created certain things to take away those figureheads, right? They call them big homies in LA. They took away those figureheads, right? And so now, you know, when you cut the head off the centipede, it's a bunch of other little small body parts moving around on their own independently, man. So they get to thinking, man, and come up with a type of unified plan.
Indeed. So, moving along, I want to talk about the gun violence that's taking place in our streets. And I would love to be able to hear from a few people. I know I got a couple young ladies on the line. I would love to hear from you all as well. Just why is this happening and who is responsible for the gun violence that's occurring? Because we talk about accountability, right? So who do we hold accountable for what's happening in our communities when it comes to
I can speak on that.
All right.
My name's Sierra. I can say we can start holding ourselves accountable for that.
Appreciate it. Anybody else got any input on that?
Yeah, my name Alvin, bro. I say the politics and us, bro. Like, us not even the people that's, like, don't get me wrong, I'm with Craig and I appreciate what Craig doing. But if y'all know the people that's knowing the people, like, for instance, we know the guns make it through Chicago on trains. Why are we allowing that? You feel me? Are we standing on everything else? Why are we not standing on that? Trains get robbed every day or every week or whatever the situation. We know how to get the guns. Everybody know how to get the guns. Everybody know how the guns how people getting the guns in their neighborhoods and whatever the situation is. Why we don't boycott that?
Right. So you saying from a responsibility standpoint, are you saying that it's the, you know, is it policy? Is it government that's involved that's making the decisions to allow trains and people going to, you know, get them off the rails? Like who's responsible? Is it, you know, social media? The social media?
No, it's not social media. Social media have an impact in it, yeah. Social media have an impact of people getting killed. But people wouldn't get killed without guns.
The music do too.
People wouldn't get killed without guns. The guns wouldn't be here without the trains. You feel me? I'm more of a person of like proper grammar or whatever the situation, however to explain it. Like I play chess, so I don't jump over moves. It's not checkers. I think all the way back to like the beginning. Like how, like for instance, like I just said, the guns are only here through the trains. People are only getting killed from the guns. The guns wouldn't be here if they wouldn't be transporting guns through trains. If they had a safer route to transport guns or whatever the situation is, it wouldn't be no killing. But it's all designed for this. It's all designed for people to steal the guns. Because a lot of things that we don't even know, that I'm just learning, a lot of things are meant to happen. Like, for instance, rappers, they go spend money on their jewelry and then have somebody rob them for their jewelry for an insurance fraud. An insurance claim or whatever the situation is. Like how we heard the story of Oprah, she give out all this stuff at her show because she write it off on motherfucking taxes and shit like that. They do the same shit with the guns, bro. And it's just an operation. And one person stood up for it. Like Lil Baby said in the Lil Baby said in his song, he's scared to say something because I don't think they gonna say something to him. Or he gonna get killed behind it, but he gonna say something. He just not gonna say everything. Everybody is, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so would you also, another quick question, when we talk about like, why is it happening? Like you talk about going back, is jobs an issue? Is it a lack of like, I don't have, so I take, because I don't have employment
My
rates are
bad for
high?
cutting you off. My bad for cutting you off. I don't think
No, go right
jobs
ahead, brother.
because I don't think jobs the issue because if you don't have the money to purchase a gun, well, if I have a gun for sale, you feel me, or whatever the situation is, and it ain't nobody out here to rob, you gonna go out there go find your job and get this gun. So I mean, don't get me wrong, jobs could create. It's people with jobs that's still killing people. This regular 9 to 5 people that get up every day, smile, laugh, go to work, come home, get their gun and kill somebody. So it ain't jobs, it's more of everybody knowing what to do. Like we know what to do. What steps are we taking to do? We found every excuse. Like it ain't social media. If it was social media, if social media was provoking killing, why everybody ain't rich? Because it's provoking money too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it show you how to get money. It show you how everybody on social media riding Rolls Royces and Bentley trucks. Everybody ain't got that. Everybody got millions. Everybody ain't got that shit.
Right.
Just like people want guns, they want money too.
Yeah, I think Cortez, you just unmuted yourself briefly. Did you have something that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was wanted to say something about him saying it was the guns that's killing people. Well, he could say it's the guns that's killing people, but it's the people that's behind the guns. There's
I
a
never
lot of
said,
killing
my
out
bad.
here that really don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? People just killing just for the clout. People killing for another person to say something about the situation. Everything ain't designed the way it's supposed to be.
People, if the guns wasn't out here, people would find another way to kill people.
That's what I'm
That's all I'm
saying. See,
saying.
that's
We
why I'm
can't
saying
just
you can't
blame
just
it
say
on
the
the
guns
guns.
did it.
If we gonna blame it on the guns, let's tackle why the guns out here. What purpose does the guns serve to be out here?
Yeah.
I mean,
You feel me?
they don't serve a purpose, but
as a community, that's what we need to tackle on. What purpose does the gun serve to be out here? Why does the police station have to have millions of guns in the city of Chicago? And it ain't even millions of police in the city of Chicago. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Can I comment on this?
But the crime rate stays so high in Chicago.
That's because them
safe and
guns
prepared.
travel through Inglewood.
Hey, give me 1 second, Alvin.
Through.
Hey, bro, give me 1 second here, man.
My
Let
bad.
me speak, and we'll get back to you.
I was finna say a lot of these guns and drugs out here, the government put all this stuff out here. It's multiple studies in this case. It's the like I think I was in high school, we had learned like a lesson. It's cases and it done went to court all that. I think it was like the assistant chief or something like that. The head of the police. He basically went to court. He the one who put when it started like the crack in the 80s and all that. The government put all this stuff on the streets and it's just been continuing for decades.
Right. Arlena, I think you unmuted for a quick second. You got something?
Yeah. I just wanted to share my thoughts around it. To me, it's systematic racism and impoverishment for people of color. If we go way back into slavery, our men weren't allowed to be in the homes. They couldn't accept government assistance if they lived in the homes. Then they found every reason to incarcerate our Black men, which broke down the household for the Black communities. So now our women are raising families as single mothers in the absence of a powerful, positive Black role model. And some of the things that the men have already said on the call, they're placing these guns in our communities. Crack cocaine. Black people go to jail for 30 years for crack. But unfortunately, the white males, he's just battling something. We'll give him probation or he needs to go to rehab. We're expecting results from a system that was never designed to support us or for us to succeed. We don't own those freight trains, as Alvin is referencing. Those are being purposely and systematically placed in our communities. I haven't seen a freight train robbed that was full of books or iPads to enhance the knowledge of what's going on in our communities. It's guns, things that's going to continue to diminish the property value in the culture for the Black people. That's what they do.
Absolutely. So with that being said, and I think a lot of us on this call get the historical context. I think even the younger guys get it. From what I'm hearing, I hear them speaking to history of how there's been systematic racism, especially in the city of Chicago. And this is the whole idea about reimagining public safety. So since we know that that happened, how do we change that? So I'm thinking outside the box here for a minute. If we know we can't stop the guns from coming in, how do we stop the people from wanting to get the guns?
Can
Everyone,
this,
my name
this,
is Nisi, and
oh,
one
my
of the
bad.
things that I had wanted to say was that was one of the things that I had wanted to speak about. The guns do come into the neighborhoods in our communities all different types of ways. We know all the different types of ways they come in, but one of the things we could do as a community, as a Black community, we could come together and we could educate ourselves on them. Give us proper training and usage to them, because it's never a bad idea to have a gun, but it's about how you use it and why you're using it. And also, if we have the proper training as to our attitudes and our aggression, and try to communicate a little bit more with each other and love each other a little bit more and protect our community as we should, even if the guns are in our community, we wouldn't use it against each other, but we'll have it for protection against others. So I think education is the number one thing when it does come to guns. Anybody can have a gun, but if you're properly educated about when and why to use them and where to use them, I think that makes a difference.
Right.
That's this Alvin. I was finna say the same exact thing. I was going. I forgot who had said that people. I forgot who was on the line that said that people get the guns and they don't know how to use the guns. We need more. Like when I was young, I'm finna be 30. I ain't that old, but I ain't that young neither. But when I was young, I grew up in a program. I come from the project, so I grew up in a program called the Big Brother program at the mosque on 79th. You feel me? Where they took us. We was young, and they opened our eyes to a lot of stuff, and y'all picking it back up. You feel me? I haven't seen programs like this in years. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Y'all picking it back up. But for us, the male figures in the community, what we need to do, we need to pick up and take the kids to, not the kids, but the teenagers and shit that we know that's, cause don't get me wrong, I've been on both ends of the gun. You feel me? It's a bang that adrenaline. It's the adrenaline of the hearing a bang and to watch certain stuff and to watch certain elements after that stuff happen. You feel me? Take them to the gun range. So now they ain't hitting innocent kids. You feel me? Like I can't tell but I can't tell nobody, damn, you shouldn't go feel this type of way because he took your brother. You feel me? We ain't gonna, I would love for it to stop, but I know it ain't. So I got to deal with it and I got to work around it. So at the end, my bad for saying that, but at the end of the day, we could, or somebody could get them and take them to gun ranges so they know how to properly use a gun, so they not killing kids and they hitting their direct targets, even though they shouldn't be killing nobody. Like if we could, let's not kill nobody. But a lot of people a lot of these kids out here picking up guns for protection. They don't have no big brothers. They don't have no daddies. They don't have no uncles. The majority of the kids that I be with in tour with their uncles and daddies and shit. Like, that's the crazy part about it. Like, I ain't never see this. Just like I'm seeing young girls get into it with their mamas. Like the rapper from out west, real, like they on live, his mama arguing with him about him being
Give me one
broken.
second here, Alvin, because I want to bring the conversation back to figuring out ways that we can actually work on solving this issue. And, you know, is the police, are they the people who can stop what's going on with the gun violence? Or is there another?
No, not at
Police
all.
can't do nothing.
It's us.
Let me finish real quick. I heard education about the, what other ways are there that we can look at trying to prevent these types of situations from happening, reducing the gun violence? Because really I'm hearing that, you know, the police can't handle this by themselves. And I'm at the chat here on my side too, I got a lot of people saying, you know, we got to do this ourselves. We got to be accountable. We got to take care of our communities. What are some of those ways that we can stop that? Muhammad on the line, I saw her on here. Or Leslie, go right ahead.
I think that a lot of people said programs. I think programs help. I think the millions that are being allocated or have been budgeted for police overtime should be used to fund long-standing programs, not ones that just last for 6 weeks over a summer, but for a long-term investment in individuals and in families. I think we should create one-stop shop centers or referral networks where individuals don't have to cross different boundaries or crisscross the city to access services that are necessary. And I think clinical services and educational services need to be allocated appropriately. So if there is a traumatic experience, then the response is to wrap around to the family, the one that's experiencing the trauma, and not just in the hours that followed, but a longer term approach. And to deal with the what we see as symptomatic, but we have to get to the root causes of the systemic poverty. And yeah, education is an anchor, but so are the other clinical issues and the lack of access to resources.
Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing, Leslie. Anybody else have any other ideas on ways, we can potentially curb some of the violence?
I definitely want to say something to that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I sure can. Go right ahead, brother.
Since we know our history, right? And you're saying that so if we can have these type of security on the when the freights are out there, you know what I'm saying? Get a detail of the community guys to do security on those freights. You know what I mean? That way, nobody can come hit those freights, take those guns. I stayed on 44th and Princeton. They used to hit the freights all the time. So if you got security out there, community people who are vested in a community sitting out there, you good with that. Like Leslie said, you want to make sure that you have services in the community so that our guys don't have to cross boundaries, and then that send everything back up there. So you get that set up. Even if it's about having activities for the guys to do. Back in the day, they had the Midnight League. They know what time a lot of the crimes are occurring, so you can create programs during those heightened times, such as the Midnight Basketball League. Then you provide security at the beginning, middle, and end of the blocks so that they can get in there, they can get that, they can burn off some of that energy, and then you have employment programs in the community to help these brothers get employed. So, those are just 2 or 3 things that you can provide. One is stop the guns, because we know they come in on the freights. The other, get the guys an avenue to burn some energy. The other, in the community. And another is employment programs in the community so that you can send these guys to work. Man, we start there. That's where we start.
All the points y'all been saying is good. You feel me? It's just that ain't nothing getting done. Ain't nothing. We, you know what I'm saying? We talking to everybody getting on TV talking about what can we do, what can we. You not doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing but talking, bro. Everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, the conversation has to be had, though, right? If we don't have the conversation,
that's been constantly going on, though. That's what's been going on for the past. I mean, come on, man. That's what's been going on before my woman. Y'all talked about it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So what are you gonna bring to the table then, brother?
What I can bring to the table?
Yeah.
I know I can holler at my guy. My guys are chill. I know my guys can think. They know how to think. They don't use their brain. You feel?
So that's what I'm talking about. And I'm thinking about ideas like that you mentioning, brother. You saying that you have great relationships with your guys that are in the community. Is that something we need to be focusing on, bringing brothers like you in to be peacekeepers?
Yeah, but it ain't always the one from the community that can show them, you know what I'm saying? It got to be somebody else that, you know what I'm saying, that's living a better life and they seeing where they came from. And them the people that got to really be out there and push it. Like, we can put it in their head and get them to talk or whatever, but everything else gonna have to come from, you know what I'm saying, a different mouthpiece, or, you know what I'm saying, a different aspect.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. I think Sierra was gonna make a comment. You mind chiming in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not all about the men either. We got women in the program as well. So you also have women out here that need help as much as the men do. I mean, you might not have women pulling triggers to guns or whatever, but you do have women out here that's still in need of help. And I'm not a woman that was in need of help, but I can say the career program has helped me out a lot. So it's just not all about the men.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 1,000%. 1,000%. I know a lot of women and mothers and sisters are kind of the heads of our household. So
right. You got mamas with kids that's struggling and all that. So you know what I'm saying. It's not about just the gun violence. You got mamas out here that'll risk their life for their kids. You know what I'm saying. So now they in jail or doing this and that just to feed their kids. So you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody else got any things that they want to chime in as far as, is there another way to stop what's going on? Are there any other ideas? I just feel like it's flowing right now and would love to, keep hearing these thoughts and ideas. Because as I said, this is an opportunity for us to be able to tell, other people that we think can have impact, whether that's different funders that can fund these types of programs like CRED and other community organizations, but we got to be really specific about what the ask is and what we want and know that it could change. We can't keep asking for the same thing over and over again without getting the results. And so I love to be able to hear maybe from Dr. Tyler or somebody else that's on the line just to kind of let me know, what it is out there that we can do to change what's happening in our communities, what type of ideas.
I think this is Mr. Lightfoot speaking.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I come from an area far south side, Augill community. And what I've seen out there and what I know for a fact is that we have a high rate of substance abuse. A lot of these guys out here that's pulling that trigger are first-time shooters. You have a few that have been out here in the land doing it a good 10 years putting in work. They tired. Them not the ones abusing perks and Xannies. You get one of them in their system, they going to put in work. If they wasn't off none of them drugs, man, majority of the time, you wouldn't even see them riding down the highway getting mean mugging somebody, or somebody looking at them and they think it's a mean mug or one of their ops and they just start blasting at a cop. I know for a fact, the majority of them so high and talk about it like it's nothing. Man, I was so looted, man, I got down, I don't even know who that was. Oh, and it's out there. It's out there. I'm talking about, it's out there. All through Cal City, South Suburbs, Roseland, on up to the west side. It's out there. Them boys popping them Zans and them perks, and they don't give a damn who in their face, who in that car. They epping themselves up. They need that before they go out here and do their business. They want that high. They want that certain high, and that's the reason they disrespectful to their parents. They're not listening to nobody, because at night, guess what you got out there now? You got a lot of zombies walking around that's hiding all outdoors, and they don't give a damn who they pulling that trigger on, who in their way. They just know they focused on one thing. I got to get him, because that's their mindset now. They done amped themselves up off that drug, and that's all they want. Just like in the 80s and 90s, the guys off the heroin. You know what they did to go get it if they needed it? They grabbed that utensil, they went and put in work because they need that fix.
Yeah, I hear you. Appreciate you sharing, Mr. Lightfoot. Dr. Tyler, you got any suggestions?
Well, I always got some suggestions, brother. But I'd rather just kind of highlight a point that was made and maybe ask a question for other comments. And so I put in the chat based on what I heard from what one of the sisters said. She talked about these mothers needing to protect their children. And one thing we don't talk about enough is the domestic violence that's going on hand in hand with the gun violence. So we talk some about the gun violence and what we need to do to reimagine safety around that. What do we need to do to reimagine safety around domestic violence? And I'd like to hear from some of the young people, the sisters, as well as the brothers, in terms of their thoughts about that.
Well, there it is. Anybody feel free to chime in on the issue about domestic violence and whether or not they feel like it plays a part in what's happening in the streets, which it definitely has to.
I'll chime in on that. I say, we all have witnessed some type of domestic dispute, right? And that comes from deep within, and drugs, alcohol, all those things play a major part in the outcomes of our behaviors and the acts that we commit out here. But no matter what, real change starts within. And it's like, what are we going to do to be more creative? We got to get out here and start our own non-for-profits. We got to pass the positive energy. Some of us got to go get the degrees, to teach about substance abuse,
you know, so that we can educate our community about domestic violence and things like that. It takes initiative. But for the most part, the importance of these conversations is more like, you know, when we get together on these Zooms to talk about these things, and when we're amongst circles that's not, we need to bring awareness to these things because it's very important, especially in our community. So that's the importance of you know, us coming together as a collective and a union to try to uplift one another. You know, this is strength. So, and this is just me reflecting on something I heard about, like, you know, what are we gonna do? It starts within. What are we gonna do? It's a lot I could do with help, but if I don't talk about it, if I don't sharpen myself, there's nothing that I can do. I just walk past a domestic disturbance like I don't even see it. I just turn a blind eye to it. When I'm knowing it as a man, I'm supposed to stop it. You know what I'm saying? When I see my little cousin that's out of hand, if I see his anger, I'm supposed to grab him up if his daddy in prison and tell him to stop it. Talk to him instead of saying, oh, that little nigga wild. When I see my little cousin, she acting fast, dancing to that music, I'm supposed to talk to her and her mama. Initiative is everything, stepping up. If you're not stepping up and holding yourself accountable for shit that you know that's wrong, excuse my language, then you part of the problem.
Right.
Don't have any fear of Suge Knight's reaction to
You want to add something, Brandon?
As my man Johnny Page say, even when you're doing nothing, you're doing something.
Right. Brandon, did you want to comment? I see you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, mostly like my whole thing was with everything is that we just gonna take accountability for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like that's at the end of the day, that's the problem. We need to take more accountability for ourselves. And most of us that was a part of the problem, we need to be a part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I really feel for the most part. We need to do more things to gentrify our areas and do things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And we need to stop. We need to teach our young men how to be men too. That's another one of the problems is we don't teach our young men how to be men. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a different thing. Straight up. That's just how I look at it.
The men came more sensitive like females now, man. They
Exactly.
and
And that's crazy you said that because I was telling Ali a little while ago. I'm like, man, Joe, we need to intertwine, start getting the young guys. And I want to see if we could put something together called Getting Out Your Feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because it'd be a lot of young dudes, man, that really getting their feelings about nothing. It ain't about no money. It ain't about your family. It's nothing. Because the nigga said something on Facebook.
Right.
He said, fuck a homie that you didn't even fuck with. You know what I'm saying? So now, because he said something, you ready to tweet with this nigga. And you ain't even really like that.
Right.
And that's how we have so many different murders for nothing. Because these shorties really don't even be like that for real. And they just get on this internet. And then you got, and this be another thing too. Niggas be saying, fuck these other niggas and different shit like that. But at the end of the day, they have family members that really love and care about these people. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that becomes more of a problem. Because it's people getting murdered and shot, they don't even know who they getting shot by. Of course you thinking it's your ops done did it, and it ain't even your ops who did it. It's they people who done did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just reading here in the chat that, you know, I believe Monica Guerrero posted that, you know, 2 people from CRED had been killed due to domestic violence, like in the last 2 years. And so when I think about domestic violence, right, is it important to really, you know, should we be really focusing on that? Is it affecting kids that were, you know, 18, seeing their uncles fight like amongst themselves in the house? Like you just said, it ain't even the ops, it's your own people. And so, you know, do they be impacted by seeing things like that, and then it results into them having, you know, a criminal thought process or engaging in negative behavior? Is that an issue that something that we should be focusing on? Is like
yeah, now that
in the house.
When you say that, I think about all the violence that happened in my life growing up, and I figure out that's probably why I was so violent. That's all I seen was violence growing up, murders.
And see, that's another thing.
House that I grew up. So I guess domestic violence would be playing to be violent, because I thought it was.
Yeah, I think you're going in and out, Jonas. Sorry about that, man.
And you know, another thing that I was gonna say too, right? Another thing that draws these shorties to do different little things and different stuff like that, as far as going crazy, as far as in the streets, is become a lot of them get bullied and shit too. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's say the shorties on this side, they just like to play basketball. But the niggas that's over here, they steady doing something to their homies. You know what I'm saying? They taking stuff from them, different things like that. So you grow to have a different type of hate for your own kind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like with these females too. I'm gonna tell you something about these females. These females get to saying shit on these Facebook and doing different things like that. And you got cats out here that ain't really for that. That'll really see a female and put hands to it just because of what they said. They don't care about the consequence of what happened behind it. It's the respect factor for most men. You know what I'm saying? And once again, too, you gotta remember, a lot of people in urban communities didn't grow up with both of their parents. And even if they did, both parents had a vice. Mama probably was a drunk, daddy get high. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta know the balance. It's a lot of unbalance with everything. What's wrong with it, Paul?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, you know what? Dr. T just brought up a good point, and I'm just going to touch base on this real quick. He says that as we think about holding ourselves accountable and resolving our problems in our communities, we have to think about ways to encourage and enable brothers and sisters to resolve problems without resorting to violence. What does that, I'm curious as to if anybody wants to chime in on what does that look like? How do we help our brothers and sisters to resolve their problems without resorting violence? What are some ideas or some components or some processes or some resources that we can use in order to better facilitate this type of situation?
Help them with, like, they need help with like their bills or getting their kids back and forth to school or whatever, like they need help with. Help them find them.
Okay. Can anybody else chime in real quick on different ways that we could potentially, you know,
I feel like these shorties.
Hold on one second,
when issues
Brandon.
arise, I think we need to be able to get on top of it and get these guys on a one-on-one basis, because the crowds and the internet and all the amping and all that, that's what really get out of hand. You can get these guys most of the time on a one-on-one and get them to talk to each other, like you and Bill got to talk to each other most face-to-face. You understand what I'm saying? And get to talk one-on-one without everybody in y'all business. That play a big part.
I'd like to say something. I think, first of all, I think that all the young people on the line are just incredible with their comments and their opinions. I did just have a couple of things I want to say. And one being that I just wish that every child at the elementary school level, especially when you're talking about 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, could be connected to some type of mentor. I've always felt like kids should have a mentor. That especially when we know so many young people in our community are without their fathers. Additionally, they should be attached to some kind of a pro-social activity, because we all know that when kids are connected to the right type of people, they're less likely to engage in antisocial behavior. And then I'd like to think more about restorative justice practices. I mean, we need to have more dialogue in the community where people can listen and reflect on the victims, and perpetrators and victims should come together and have conversations. And we need to have more safe spaces around the community where that dialogue can take place.
Can I jump in? I understand what the sister's saying about like more safe spaces. It's like where I work at Iman. So like when I'm at Iman, pretty high the street on my mind.
I don't want to speak. Stop.
For the most part, I'm at Iman, like more spaces like Iman, Fred, and the firehouse stuff I be hitting about. More spaces like that and more community that need, like Chicago Police Officer, the red zone district. Put those key places like Iman over there on 63rd for Inglewood community. That's something that can help out over there in that area. Like put key places that open up safe environments where people can feel free to be who they is. And then you probably do see changes.
Okay, Sarah, thank you. On the campaign trail today, President Trump
I see like we're starting to move into the space of, talking about social services and public safety. We touched on a couple ideas. I just want to see if there's any more out there, but beyond, gun violence, and this kind of correlates to what we're talking about, the domestic violence and any other criminal behavior or activity that's occurring, drug use. What could we do to make our neighborhoods more safer? I've heard ideas like more police. I've heard less police, but being more effective, right? So having the proper training and having the proper tools to be able to be an effective police officer. And then I've also heard social services. So, mental health, drug abuse, substance abuse. Like, how do we, are any of those things, can any of those things potentially make our neighborhood safer? And is it worth the investment to be able to invest in things like mental health and drug treatment?
I feel that we definitely need a lot more. We definitely need to look more into I'd say we definitely need to as far as the mental health and things of that nature, they closing out a lot of these hospitals, so you got a lot of people who got mental issues and different things still running around, walking around. You see what I'm saying? Without their medicine and different things like that, so they act out because they don't have the resources and the help to get their medicine. So a person off top think they tweaking, and they really not tweaking it because they need help. You see what I'm saying? And then another thing too, cats like me and a few more other cats, I feel we need to be accounted for and be on these blocks. You know what I'm saying? And then they took down, ain't no after school programs, ain't no field houses like how we used to have them growing up in the projects. You see what I'm saying? Then at one point in time, you had men who were accountable, who stood up and took care of their neighborhoods. We don't have those men anymore because don't nobody want to be that guy. Everybody want to be the nigga with the money, but don't nobody want to be that cat to really stand up and take care of the neighborhood. Those what neighborhoods are for, they're tribes. You see what I'm saying? And in tribes, you have to have people to take care of the other people that's in the tribes. Because how can a tribe continue to go on if the life is steady dying? You know what I'm saying? You can't. If you steady having wildfires, over here in this neighborhood, how do you expect to have some greens and different things to grow? Apples and shit to grow. It can't grow. Because the seed is the plant ain't no water. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing. And I feel like I said once again, I feel like the men that's not scared, the cats that say they out here, they stand on business, all that. Joe, let's stand on these blocks. Real talk, man. There's too many kids dying, bro. That's all my thing. I'm gonna keep it funky, and I don't care how nobody feel about this. I don't care about no grown men dying. I'm gonna keep it funky. I don't care, cause we all gotta die. But my whole thing is these shorties. The shorties, they ain't even grown up to have a chance to do nothing, to decide what they want to do. They life getting taken away for nothing. And half these shorties that's dying and not dying for nothing. The niggas that shooting, they just shooting. They have court shooting. That's what's going on. Niggas is real life scared out here. That's what's going on, Joe. That's how I feel about it.
Let me take a look. I'm gonna read a couple things from the chat for those, that's probably on their iPhones and whatnot. But double down on what Brandon said. Somebody said, there's no after school matter programs for the kids. Kids just out in the streets. Dr. T stated, hey, we need mental health workers to respond to mental health crises and not the police, which is something that I've seen being done in other cities. I want to say maybe out in Oregon somewhere, I saw a study where they actually have mental health responders for situations where the police can focus on more important things. But more importantly, police people aren't mental health experts. They're not social workers. So how do they the only way that they may know how to deal with that is through arrest. And we don't have enough mental health hospitals available now to even commit those people to. Also have Dr. Vessel says that the restoration of parenting has to move to the top of the agenda. Holding parents accountable, abandoning of drug usage and self-hatred produced through the myriad of traumas and the demoralization of our families through systemic and structural racism. Now we hurt ourselves, and too many parents have ceased to parent. And so, that kind of, doubled down on, that was just like, Brandon was saying, hey, he don't care about if, the grown men die. Well, the grown men die, who gonna raise these babies? So I think we got to have a kind of a holistic approach to really see how we can support each other regardless of age. But you're absolutely right, Brandon. We do have to find a better way to make sure we're taking care of these babies. having more support for mental health, like that being a primary issue, mental health and drug treatment, that it'll have a lasting or a changing effect on our communities? As it goes back to like what Mr. Lightfoot said, you know, people running around using drugs, popping pills, you know, has to have some type of role in what's going on in the streets. So, you know, maybe if we can address that, then maybe we can address the violence issues.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
We could address drug issues all we want. Like, you know what I mean? I drunk and I lived my life in a bottle until I was sick and tired of doing it, until countless trips to the penitentiary. But I'm just one individual. We need more Chicago creds within 20, 30 block radiuses, more imams within the 20 or 30 block radiuses that can deal with, you know, all of these issues. We need our own security, man. Like, I mean, I should be able to have somewhere to come to as a father to talk about issues. A youth should be able to have somewhere to come to talk about his issues that he having at home, because Pop's probably in prison. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's a lot of issues that's not being addressed. You know what I'm saying? It came up when we talked about, you know, social media and music and things like that. But, you know, education is real. And we're not applying the real education that's needed in our community. Economic education. We quick to go out and spend our money and not valuing our money. As much money as we spend in the damn liquor store, we could use that to fund our own, you know, community projects. And yeah, accountability is everything. Like, that's what the brother was just talking about. If we're not holding ourselves accountable, how are we gonna expect somebody else to hold themselves accountable? If we're not standing on the things that we talk about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's Alvin, man. I can say something real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Chime on in, Al.
I feel we lack love and guidance, man. You feel me? Through everything, we lack love and guidance. We forgot how to love each other and we forgot how to guide each other. Like I always use this as a reference in my household. I try to tell my mama this because I grew up in the projects and my life wasn't good or none of that. But I tell my mama, I look at not to be racial, or I look at the Mexicans and see that, bro, they pack everybody up in their house and send a kid. Like my big brother, he told me this. Well, he ain't my big brother, but somebody I look up to as a big brother role model. He told me put life insurance on my kids before I put life insurance on me. You feel me? And I asked him why. And he said, over time you could take out and over time you could buy more life insurance. But at my age, life insurance really not that important. It's more important as for the kids. I forgot I'm trying to quote everything he said, but we lack love and guidance. If we teach each other, if we love each other and guide each other, can't nobody come in between us and manipulate our mind. Drugs, substance abuse, any vice, anything, all that is just manipulation. All that is just something they put out here for us to feel like we need. It's not the perks that's having the kids killing us. It's still not even the white people. I'm not going to say that. It's still society. It's still and the oppression is what they give us to kill ourselves. You feel me? Like, for instance, a person could tell me how to make a business plan and I should put my money to all this, or I should open up and do something with property, but I'm watching Roseland die. I'm watching from 111 to 115. Ain't nobody taking the initiative to rebuilding that and putting black businesses right there, giving out more job opportunities, none of that. But no disrespect to the Caucasians, the white people gonna do it. The Hispanics gonna do it. Somebody gonna do it. It's just not us, because we ain't guiding each other. We not leading each other to nothing but death, bro. We not leading each other to nothing, to no better future for our kids, for the next generation of kids, whether it's black, white, Chinese. It don't even matter about skin complexion or race. It's more about mental. You feel me? It's love, bro. Like real shit. A lot of these kids out here don't have no love. A lot of these adults out here ain't got no love. They ain't been
Seeing a comment come in from my man Antonio Thomas saying that we need real housing in the community that's affordable and sustainable. for these kids. So with that being said, I'm gonna dive into this question because it kind of correlates on how we can use our funding in a better way. There's been a lot of discussion around reducing police budgets, even talked about, defunding police and more on social jazz housing. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Would you feel safer or less safe with moving money from the police budget to other, resources that we can use in the community? Or is everybody comfortable with the amount of police that we have in the community? Or maybe, we should have more police.
With murders going up, I don't see how having more police gonna help. I believe we need more programs and more things like CRED to intervene on the killings and the murders. The people in the community who know these kids, who can talk to them, and who can get to them before it even get there.
Right.
I ain't with the police. I get too fucks about police. Excuse my language, but at the end of the day, on some 100 stuff, I don't understand. Taking the police away right now is critical to us. You feel me? Why not place a program inside? Like I've been in. Why not place a program inside of the police station? Right. So now when the kids come in here, they not just railroading the kids. Because they not out here trying to get no fucking adults, bro. The police ain't out here trying to get no 30 or 40-year-olds. They out here trying to mess up the future for the youth future. They out here locking up the 17-year-olds and the 16-year-olds and shit like that. And the only reason they getting locked up because they feel like they gotta protect each other. So they gotta grab a gun.
Yeah.
They gotta get a gun. They gotta protect each other. So set a program inside there so they know better laws. And these people can't do shit like for instance. I go to jail and I was 17 for a simple robbery.
Right.
Knowing that
So let me hold on.
Let me just say this real quick. Knowing I'm supposed to
I want to make sure we stay focused, bro, and talk about ways that we can actually change the system. And I got a short amount of time here. I got a few people that got their hands raised that I want to call on. You have anything that you want to add on how we can change the system and whether or not you feel good about defunding the police or reallocating the budget specifically?
Yeah. I just said put a program inside the police station.
Okay.
That way they have to pay y'all. That's why they have to pay the program. We don't have to let them do their job. That's what they're gonna do anyway. That ain't gonna do nothing. It's not gonna solve a problem until 10 years from now. Like I hope it can solve something right now. But the problem at hand that they can't argue. Okay, cool. Since y'all want to prolong this, put a program inside the police station.
Okay.
And argue the fact why y'all.
Yeah, I think we lost my man here. Mr. Moore, by any chance, would you have any comments that you may want to add?
I just been keeping all my comments in the chat. I'm still at work. Okay. I'm paying attention, but I'm just trying to contribute as the silent one. I'm really feeling the passion from these young men.
Absolutely.
Voice and contributing to the conversation. I'm agreeing with almost everything that's been said.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Muhammad, you got anything that you want to add?
I was listening as well. I think it's very powerful to be able to hear from the participants because they live it. We happen to be here to assist and give the things that they need so that they can have access to many of the things that they didn't have access to before and or did not know were available before. And I most definitely agree with Alvin because I used to run a program at the police station and it was for early intervention. So if a young person got in trouble, then we would host the program at the police station. They would kind of be monitored, not anything that was like illegal monitoring. But it provided some level of a connection, mentoring, assistance, which then decreased their access to having to be in the justice system permanently. But when that funding got cut, when you talk about what needs to happen is exactly what all of the participants said. When you have access and support, mentorship, programming clinicians, you know, all across the city, you will see things change. When people have the heart of the individuals that I know that I work with in CRED, I know what we have assisted with and supported our participants in, because it's a team effort, a partnership with them, because they are, you know, they teach many of us more than we could ever help them. But when you have a partnership with your clients, participants, or whatever, and when you start younger, you do see changes. And I've seen it across the board. I've worked with DCFS, I've worked with juvenile probation, with the high schools, and you just see a trend. And in specific areas, you see systematic, like Mrs. Rochelle stated, systematic barriers that create what we see now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Ms. Muhammad. Thank you so much. Is Dante Banks on the line? I want to see if he got a last comment. If so, we're going to wrap up with you.
Yeah, I'm here. And everything is relevant that everybody said, from the intellectual all the way down to the common one. But the one thing I done listened to this whole thing, the one thing I'm missing as an idea, as a way to get to the bottom of this or change this, is that we got to go back to our spirituality. I ain't heard nothing about God in here and him backing us in the things that we are doing here. We got to call and make sure that we understand that God got to be at the root of everything we do. We can go back to the time of slavery. The one thing that kept us together as a strong people on that thing is our spirituality and our spiritualness, that connection. And that's what got us here today. And that's what we getting away from. We ain't teaching our young ones that spiritual balance within this life. So we got to get back to that. Everything that we do, we got to always ask God. You can get somebody get shot. You can get somebody go to jail. They're going to go to a corner. The parents going to go somewhere and they're going to pray. They're going to ask God help for this. So we got to get back to that. We got to put God at the center of everything we do. And then we as probably start seeing some changes around here. So that's what I want to leave you on, my brothers, my sisters, and let you know that at the root of everything, God got to be the force behind what we do.
Right, well, we're going to wrap it up with that. Let the church say amen. Hey, I want to thank everybody for hopping on this call this afternoon. Thank you, Mr. With that, I believe spirituality is very important as well. All of the young folks on the call, thank you for participating. It's very valued. You know, I don't care whether you're 15, 25, 35, or 7. Everything that everybody is saying on this call is very, very important. I think it's going to lead to a more comprehensive plan as we continue to push the agenda forward. By far, don't tell anybody else, this is the best call that I've had. We've done about 6 of these, and this was an amazing group. I don't think we've got over 15 people on the call, and we had 65 at one point. So to be able to get this much information and this much detail, hey, I couldn't be more appreciative. So I ask that everybody please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Be safe, be blessed. Until next time, see you guys later.